Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take a look at the Transformers Legacy Evolution Wave 2 Deluxe Class Crosscut. Let's start off by taking a look at the packaging, and then we'll get into the review. So of course, up front we have Transformers on the side, a really cool artwork shot of Crosscut in his car mode with all of his weapons attached. We have the Legacy Evolution logo. We have Crosscut in an Autobot symbol done in white text. We have an open one displaying the figure in the packaging. If you do look at the top, there's a QR code, so if you do scan that, that will show his stats. If we do turn to the side, there's two really cool artwork shots, more of a close-up of his face and a more wide shot and a really cool battle pose of Crosscut. On the back, he transforms in 14 steps. There's several product shots, one of the robot in alt mode, and of course there's this Evo Fusion gimmick where you can get all the accessories and combine them into one really cool looking blaster. As for the final side, of course, this is only half of the Legacy Evolution artwork, so if you do get into other deluxe like Shrapnel and put both boxes together, you can complete the artwork. And that is pretty much it for the packaging, so let's now get into the review. Here we have Crosscut in his vehicle mode. Let's start off by taking a look at the details. Starting at the very front, we actually have some really nice black and gray for the entire grille section. We have some silver for the headlights and some red for that very classic Autobot symbol on the hood there. For the rest of the hood, mostly done in silver, and some transparent dark blue plastic for the entire windscreen or window section. There's some more on the side near the door, and there's actually some other really nice details like a little mirror and doorknob also done in silver. As for the wheels, not the biggest fan of color they chose. I think they stick out too much. It's too bright of a red, kind of catches your eye too much. That's just my opinion. Would have been nice if it was like a dark gray or black. I think that would have looked a little bit better. And there's actually this really nice stripe of red going from the back of the car to the front. I think that looks pretty good. As for the back of the car, there's actually quite a few small little details that actually really work and add a lot of character to this car. So there's actually some exhaust pipes at the bottom, a little square here probably where a license plate would go, and there's this entire fin section at the top that looks pretty good as well. And for detail-wise, that is pretty much it. So, of course, there's pinwheels and mushroom peg wheels, so overall this rolls pretty well across the ground. As for accessories, I'm just going to quickly take a look at them individually, and then I'll, of course, show the storage. There's actually quite a few different ways you can store them. So they're the exact same ones that came with skids or burnout, so no surprises here. But interesting enough, I actually compared the Energon-infused axe from a Crosscut to either skids or burnout. This is actually a much darker, transparent blue plastic. I'm not entirely sure why they did that, but I actually kind of like it. So, overall looking very cool of the clear blue plastic that they use, looking very Energon infused. Of course, that was the gimmick of the Legacy line. This is more of the Evo Fusion gimmick, which I'm going to show in just a sec. But I think that overall looks pretty cool in my opinion. Now for the next accessory, it's actually this kind of simple double-barreled red blaster, which is Blast Beast compatible, which overall looks pretty cool. The exact same one that came with skids. As for the final one, it's the singular pistol. Again, Blast Beast compatible, the same one that came with skids or burnout. So how you can actually do the Evo Fusion gimmick is you're actually going to combine the singular pistol and the double-barreled one. There is a peg here and, of course, a port on the bottom, and just combine it like that. So you can actually just use this as a weapon. You can store on there if you want to. There's a ton of options, but for the Evo Fusion gimmick, what you're going to do is actually attach the axe as well. So there's a post there and a port there, and there we have the Evo Fusion gimmick. And, of course, you can use this gimmick in the vehicle mode, the robot mode, whenever you want, wherever you want. So this can attach, there's several MechTech ports, there's some on the side, some on the top. I'm actually going to attach this to the top because I think that looks pretty cool up there in my opinion. And this whole barrel here is Blast Beast compatible as well, so you can actually create some really cool explosions and action scenes if you want to. But I think that looks really nice, and I'll show this off, of course, in his hand in robot mode a little bit later. Let's actually separate these, and I'll show you how you can store them separately across the vehicle. So let me just take them apart like that. And you can spread them wherever you want. As I said, there's several MechTech ports. I'm actually going to put the pistol on this side using that peg and port. I'm going to store the axe on top, so there's a post there and a port there. Just attach it like that. As for the final accessory, the double-barreled one, I'm going to put it on this side like that. And there we have the weapon storage. So now let's get into a few comparisons. Here we have Crosscut with another Deluxe from Wave 2. His review is actually up on the channel right now. Here he is with Prowl. Let me just quickly balance him first. He's sometimes a bit hard, but they look pretty cool next to each other. I also do have Crash Bar, so his review is coming very soon on the channel as well. I'll have a robot mode comparison with him, of course, later in the video whenever he is in his robot mode. But I think they look pretty cool side by side, in my opinion. Two very different vehicles, of course, and two very different, Transformer concepts. This one's more animated, this one's more G1, but they overall do look very cool in my opinion. Let's actually get into some mold comparisons. So first, here he is with the original skids from Legacy Wave 1. quite a while back. So as of mold and this mode, they're the exact same thing. Exact same accessories, of course, just a heavy repaint. But in the robot mode, there is a mold change as of the head sculpt. But in this mode, as I said, the exact same thing, really just up to personal preference of which deco you prefer. I have to say, probably between the two, I think I prefer this one. Unfortunately, I have to mention when I got my skids, there's actually a little bit of a paint chip right there, which is a bit unfortunate, so it's right on the hood. So maybe sometime if I can ever find them on sale or like clearance, maybe I'll get another copy of this figure without that scratch. But they overall do look pretty cool side by side. Here's a front view. You want to see, same accessories as you can see. But as I mentioned before, interesting enough, the axe is a different shade of blue. I'm not really sure why they did that because Skids' axe and Burnout's axe is the exact same shade of blue. I'm not really sure why they went with a darker one with this. I really don't know. But it actually looks pretty good. I probably prefer it over the light blue. That's just my opinion. And a back view here. And now for another mold comparison, I'm going to put Skids off to the side. Here he is with Burnout from the Legacy Velocitron line, a Walmart exclusive that actually came out quite recently. And between the two, they are the exact same figure, including the head sculpt. This head sculpt course was taken from this figure and just repainted to a different deco. But they overall look pretty cool. And actually, before Crosscut, this one was actually my favorite. I think Crosscut just took his place. I'm not really sure. Let me know, of course, in the comment section down below of the 4 versions of this mold so far, which one is your favorite. I'll bring out Crankcase in just a sec for comparison. And front view there. And a side view there as well. And finally, the back. And of course, we have to have a big group photo of all the Autobot versions of this mold. So here we have Crosscut, Burnout, and Skids all next to each other. And I'll bring these out a little bit later in the video, of course, once they're in their robot mode. And again, let me know in the comment section down below which one's your favorite version of this mold so far. And for one final comparison, here he is with the only Decepticon version we've had of this mold so far. Maybe we'll get another one. Crankcase, which actually quite recently, this was, I'm pretty sure, Legacy Wave 3, a deluxe class figure. And there's actually quite a few mold changes as well. I'm not going to point them all out because there's quite a few, of course, brand new accessories, minus the pistol. It's actually kind of a foggy gray color, which I was always thought was actually kind of interesting. But there's quite a few mold changes here and there. And of course, one's a different faction from the other. But they do look pretty cool side by side. And that is pretty much it for comparisons. Let's actually now get down to transformation. What you're going to do is remove all of the accessories. Just put these off to the side for now. And what we're going to want to do is actually open up the doors just like that. And then what you're going to do is actually get the legs, just extend these fully like that. Then you're going to untab the legs from the top of the car, just like this. And there's tabs here and slots underneath this panel. And then you're just going to extend the legs fully. Sometimes it can actually be a bit tight. The joints on this are actually very tight on my copy. It could just be mine, I'm not really sure. And then what you're going to do is actually get the waist. It's actually tucked inside there. You're going to extend that as well. And then just lift the arms out for a bit of clearance as well. So just extend the waist fully. There we go. And then you can separate the legs. As you can see, there's several tabs and slots. Then you can flip these panels up as well. We have the legs almost complete. You're going to flip in the wheels underneath the feet like that. And there we go. And then what you can do is bring the arms fully up and then out like that. Let me just quickly adjust the camera so you can see what I'm doing a bit more. There we go. And then what you can do is actually push the head through like that, and then just reposition the arms, rotate the forearm forward. Same thing on the other arm. And there we have a Crosscut in his robot mode. Let's take a look at the details. Here we have Crosscut in his robot mode. Let's start by taking a look at the details, starting at the very top with a head sculpt. Really nice yellow for the eyes with some gray for the main battle mask. And of course some red for the main helmet section with some silver at the crest. Overall looking pretty cool. As for the chest itself, I actually really like the entire grille or front of the car is the chest, which looks pretty cool. We actually have some silver for the headlights, some grayish black there, looking pretty cool. We do have an Autobot symbol on the top of his chest with some silver surrounding it. As for, of course, the shoulder and forearm, mostly done in red, and that kind of silverish gray color, but pretty well sculpted in my opinion. We do have the door wings, which look pretty cool, of the little door handle and the blue there, and the silver, overall looking pretty cool. And you can kind of angle these back if you want to, just have a more dynamic pose. As for the crotch and the legs, mostly done in red with some light gray. And some really nice sculpt work on the front of the legs here, actually quite a bit of panels, some nice mechanical detailing. I actually really like on the side view, you can actually see this entire back car portion right here on the side of the leg. I think that looks pretty cool. And some red for the feet. As to the back, actually pretty well filled in, not much kibble or anything, nothing sticking out, of course, just little door wings there. Yes, of course, there is some waffling on the inside of the leg. That was one of the main complaints of when skids first came out, and yes, it's pretty bad, but it really doesn't bother me that much. So overall, pretty well detailed in my opinion. So now for articulation, the head can look up and down, side to side. Of course, the little door wings can move forward and back if you want to just have a more dynamic pose. There's outward motion, forward, back. There's bicep rotation, elbow bends. There is actual wrist rotation. And of course, if you do kind of move a few things out of the way, there is waist rotation. The legs can kick forward and back and out to the side. There is rotation at the top of the leg. There is a knee bend to a pretty good degree, and there is an ankle pivot. So yeah, really no complaints here. Just sometimes you kind of need to move a few things out of the way. There is kind of a panel on the back, so just be aware of that. But no complaints as for articulation. I think pretty standard for a deluxe class figure. And if you do have skids, burnout, or crankcase, I think you know what to expect with articulation with this figure. But now for accessories, they can store them in several different ways. Of course, I briefly covered them in his vehicle mode. So first, he does have that energon infused axe, which this can actually act as an axe or actually a blaster. So if you want to, you can plug this in his hand and it can slice and dice some Decepticons, which I think looks pretty cool. Or he can, as I said before, act as a weapon. So just plug it in there like that, which this is Blast Beast compatible, which overall looks pretty cool. There you go. And of course, he also does have those singular pistol and the double barrel blaster, but of course I will show the Evo Fusion gimmick. I did briefly show it in the vehicle mode, but he does have to wield it in his robot mode. So you just combine both the singular pistol and the double barrel blaster. There is a peg and a port like that, and then you just combine the shield or axe kind of weapon on top like that, and there we have his Evo Fusion gimmick, which I think looks pretty cool. Of course, this is kind of reused from Legacy, but still I think it's a pretty cool feature. So you can plug this in his hand if you want to, which I think looks very nice in my opinion. I actually kind of prefer them a little bit spread out, so that's what I'm going to do. And then we'll get into some comparisons. So I'm actually going to put the weapon axe in this hand and the pistol and double barrel blaster in the other. And then we can get into some comparisons. So there we go. So now for some quick comparisons, here he is with his Wavemates Crash Bar, which his review is coming on the channel very, very soon. Overall looking pretty cool side by side, in my opinion. And now for some mold comparisons, here he is with Crankcase. As you can see, there's quite a few mold changes between the two. Of course, brand new accessories minus the pistol. Of course, brand new head sculpt. He doesn't even have the door wings. And there's quite a few changes. I'd say the only area that's like very, very similar is the forearms and the legs. As you can see, are quite similar, and the feet. But quite a few changes between the two. Of course, one's the Decepticon, one's the Autobot. So just kind of a side view here. As you can see, he has actually quite a bit of a backpack, but overall looking pretty cool. Got a back view there. And let's actually get into some Autobot comparisons. I'm going to put Crankcase off to the side. Here he is with the Legacy Velocitron exclusive Burnout, which I have to say probably, I'm just going to let you know now, probably in the vehicle mode of all 4 versions of this mold, Burnout, he is probably my favorite vehicle mode. But in the robot mode, my favorite deco has to be Crosscut. That is just my opinion. But between the two, they are just straight up repainted. As you can see, the head sculpt is the same, accessories are the same, both the door wings and everything. And just have a side view there, if you want to see. And the back, all looking the same. And quickly, here he is with the original version of this mold skids from Legacy Wave 1. I think they look pretty cool side by side, and the only change is that head sculpt, but accessories and everything else is the same. But of course, we do have to have one big group comparison. Hopefully I can fit all 4 of them in. I'm actually going to have to zoom out quite a bit. Hopefully I can. Here he is with Burnout, and I might have to put like a crankcase in the front or something, but we have all 4 versions of this mold next to each other, and I actually quite like this mold. Of course, there is a bit of waffling on the inside of the leg. I know people are bothered by that. I typically don't care about waffling if it's just in like one area, but articulation is good. Love the details, love the accessories. Overall, a pretty solid mold in my opinion. Let me know in the comment section down below which one is your favorite version of this mold so far. You might be like me, where it's kind of split, you know, like I like Crosscut's robot mode, but I actually prefer Burnout's vehicle mode. That's just my opinion. But that is pretty much it for comparisons. I'm actually going to do reverse transformation because it's a very fun, simple transformation. So I thought, what the heck, I'll do it. So you just have to remove all the accessories from him and just put those off to the side. What you're going to want to do is actually bring the arms out, rotate at that shoulder joint, and then rotate at the form like that. So just rotate here, rotate that, and there we go. And then you can actually hinge this entire section up just like that. Then what you're going to do is get these panels at the legs, just bring these down, and then tab the legs together just like that. Then you can flip out the wheels like that. And then what you're going to do is actually tuck the entire waist joint under this entire panel right here. So just hinge this section up, just make sure that's fully collapsed in there like that. So it'll just fold up like that. And then you can hinge here, and there is tabs on this section that will go into slots underneath there. And then what you're going to do is bring the arms in like that. And then there is tabs underneath right there, and there is slots underneath the arm. Those will just tab into place just like that. There we go. Just make sure those are nice and secure like that. And then you're going to tab the legs into place like this, and then just hinge this up. And then you can close the doors like that. As you can see, there is a tab on the door. There's a slot right there, just like that. And there we have Crosscut in his vehicle mode. Let's now get down to the final thoughts. Now for the final thoughts for the Transformers Legacy Evolution Wave 2 Deluxe Class Crosscut. I think overall this figure is pretty good. Starting in the vehicle mode, I actually really do like all the silver, all the little details like the doorknob, the door handle. There's actually some really cool exhaust pipes. You know, I love the really nice dark transparent blue plastic for the windows or windscreen. I think that really works as well. And the Autobot symbol on the hood actually looks really nice. I think my main complaint for this vehicle mode is the wheels. I'm not a big fan of the color they chose. They kind of stick out like a sore thumb. It would have been nice if they'd done like a dark gray or maybe a black. I think that would have worked better. That's just my opinion. As for accessories, they actually store really well. There's a ton of options. You can combine them to form the Evo Fusion gimmick. You can have them separate. There's a ton of mech tech ports, so very fun, very playable. It's actually a really good vehicle mode. Is this a figure that you need to get? I would say no, because this is just a straight up repaint of Burnout. But if you like this mold like me, I think this is a really good mold, then go ahead, buy it. It's still a really good figure. But again, are there more interesting figures out there? Like, would I say choose this over like the Leader Skyquake? Absolutely not. I'd definitely buy the Skyquake if you had to choose. But still, this is a good figure if you have the money. Of course, as for transformation, it's very simple. It's the exact same transformation as either Skids or Burnout. So if you in any version of this mold so far, you can easily do it, which is actually one reason why I like this mold so much, because it's such a simple transformation. It's definitely a toy that you would just have on your desk and you can transform anytime you want. It's super simple, really fun, and it's not that hard at all. Of course, as for the robot mode, I actually really do like the deco. I'm probably, of all 4 versions of this mold, this is my favorite deco for the robot mode, but for the vehicle, I have to say Burnout's is the best. That's just my opinion. But again, love the accessories. There's actually the really cool Energon infused axe. For some reason, it's actually a darker shade of blue with this figure, but for Burnout and Skids, it's a lighter shade. I'm not entirely sure why they did that, but I actually kind of like the darker blue. That's just my opinion. And of course, he has the singular pistol and the double barrel blaster. You can combine them or have them a bit separately. There's tons of options. I actually really like the door wings. There's a bit of articulation there, so you can hinge them back to do some more dynamic poses, which is really fun to do. And articulation, it's actually pretty good. Same as Skids or Burnouts, you know, wrist swivel, waist rotation, bicep rotation, really no complaints. There is a bit of waffling on the inside of the leg. That was one of the main critiques people had when Skids first came out. People were just shocked of how much, waffling was in there, which it really doesn't bother you that much because you can barely even see it. You really have to have it at like a certain angle. You have to hinge the leg out to see it. So most of the time, it really doesn't bother me. Yes, you could buy gap fillers. I'm not really one to do that, but if you want to, go go ahead. So I do recommend this figure. It's a really good figure, probably my favorite deco for the robot mode. Again, do you need to buy this 100%? No, because it is just a repaint, but it's still a really good figure at that. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. And of course, what is your favorite version of this mold so far? Crankcase, skids, burnout, or of course crosscut? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.